Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to SU Grad 22 Success Week. So the idea behind this program is to talk about what it means to be forever orange. And that's a very kind of broad thing. If you're joining us live for this program here on a sunny Monday in Syracuse, sunny and warm, thank you. We're glad to have you along. If you're watching the recording, we hope you get something out of this program as well. And know that the people who you're going to hear from today are always able and willing to talk about what it means to be forever orange. So if you're watching this recording and you have some questions, we can help you get in touch with them and ask those questions. We are all folks who certainly like to talk about our experiences and what it means to be forever orange. So we have a number of outstanding alumni to talk to today. And one we're going to start with is our SUAA board president, Ryan Mcnaughton. I've known Ryan. As you can see, I'm class of 95. I've known Ryan since we were colleagues at WJPZ Z89 radio when we were students. He is the president of the Syracuse University Alumni Association, and he's been a member of the SUAA board since 2014, serving on the executive committee as a vice president, and has been very active and very involved, and we appreciate all of that. In his role now, he also holds a seat on the Syracuse University Board of Trustees. That's a pretty big deal. He previously served as president of the Northeast Ohio Alumni Clubs, so he has been volunteering for Syracuse University for a number of years. He has been a college fair representative and new student send-off volunteer as well. He's a 96 grad of Newhouse, has a degree in broadcast journalism. He also, because that wasn't enough, has a couple of master's degrees from Westminster College and Kent State University. He's the director now of marketing and development for Cadence Care Network in Niles, Ohio, which is where he's from. He has worked in government relations, philanthropy, career counseling, and higher education. He's also used that broadcast journalism degree, working in news and sports positions on and off the air and radio and television across the country. He even had a daily radio show. He is married to Dr. Kristen Robinson, sorry about that, and she earned both master's and doctoral degrees from the Maxwell School. So there's a lot of orange in the family. They have two children, Declan, who's 7, and Eamon, who's 4, and he has done a good job brainwashing them. They love all things auto and Syracuse as well. So without further ado, because that was a lot of ado, Mr. Mcnaughton, take it away.
Well, that's all my time. Thank you, Chris, and a comment that you will get good radio to you as well. Chris and I do go a long way back, and if that doesn't say the power of what Forever Orange really means, I first met Chris in 1992, and here we are 30 years later, sharing screens, talking about what it is to be forever orange. So thank you so much for that. Thank you for your time, and hi, everybody. I know it's been about a month or so since I had the good fortune and honor, truly, of speaking at your commencement to welcome you to our Forever Orange family. So I had such a great time meeting so many of you and your family members. The weather was just spectacular the entire weekend. So I do hope that your first month as a graduate has been a good one and that you're all doing great. So I don't have to tell you about my background. Chris already did that. I sincerely appreciate that. The important thing is we have brainwashed our children well. Autos throughout their rooms, auto comforters, auto. And when we get a dog someday, I'm pretty sure I know what the name of that pooch is going to be. Male or female, doesn't matter. So I've been asked to talk a little bit about my Syracuse story. As Chris said, I am currently president of the SU Alumni Association. I have a seat in the board of trustees, which is just an absurd honor for a kid from small town Amherst, Ohio. I still pinch myself when I get to sit in those meetings. I'm about to start my second and final year as president, so that's tick, tick, tick. I kind of see the end is nigh, but what an incredible run it's been. It's given me so much to be sitting in this role. So I want to briefly talk to you a little bit about the Alumni Association and some other things. So I'm going to give you the official language. And I'm going to give you the Ryan language about what I think it means to be on the board. So the official language is that we help establish priorities for alumni engagement. We work with our peers from the Office of Alumni Engagement. There's all sorts of strategic objectives that we seek to carry out on the board. We have 5 committees that our board members are involved in: clubs, philanthropy. The awards that are given out every year emanate from the SUAA. So the Ahrens Award, which is the highest award that any alum can receive from Syracuse University, the Edgar Senior Award, the Generation Orange Award, which you are now in the process over the next decade to potentially be eligible for with your service as a new Syracuse alum. And we have a Military Veteran Award as well. The other committees we have, we're very strong with diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility. And we have a nominating committee in which we try to seek new board members. Typically, it's being on the board is not the first foray into volunteerism for an alum. Now, here's my language about what it means to be a board member. I look at us as being kind of the front-facing cheerleaders who try to seek engagement with alums across the country and across the globe. I do feel it's our job to convince you all why it's important to stay meaningfully engaged with our alma mater. And if you remember, when I talked about in the speech at commencement, there is no contractual obligation for you or any of us truly to stay meaningfully engaged with Syracuse once we become a graduate. And I strongly believe we should. So the question is, how can you stay engaged? And I know others on this event, this call, this chat will talk about it, but here's some of my thoughts. First and foremost, you can find your local alumni club, your local regional council, go to events and get involved. It's a wonderful way to network. Come back to Orange Central every year or as often as you can. Give back. I talked about that in my speech too, time, talent, and treasure, right? There's Class Act, perhaps you participated in. We have our yearly boost to CUSE. We have our Forever Orange campaign continuing. Small gifts matter. I promise you, $5, $10. It's going to happen. You're a graduate, so you're going to get those emails. But every gift matters. Be a mentor for current students, for future graduates, and sign up for events put on by the Office of Alumni Engagement. They do such an incredible job, 12 months a year. Professional development events, CUSE Conversations, a great podcast. I was honored to be a guest on that last year with Chris. That was great. And follow SU alumni across all social media platforms. Really, the office, Chris and his team, they're just first class. I'll leave with this. I get a question all the time about why do I do this? I'm a volunteer. I get paid exactly nothing to be on this board. So my friends, my family, they're like, Brian, you use your vacation time from work. You spend your own money on travel with gas. We know that's going to become more expensive in hotels. Why do you do it? It's that simple. It's this simple. I was 15 years old in Amherst, Ohio, and I found out about Syracuse and the journalism program, and I knew that's what I wanted to do and where I wanted to go. And everything I did for 3 years, from sophomore to senior in high school, tried to get me into Syracuse. It's one thing to get the acceptance letter, but when I got the financial letter from Syracuse saying, hey, I think your family might be able to pull this off, that was the game changer. That was the life changer. So in some small way, my volunteerism allows me, again, in some small way, to give back to all of those donors who came before me and donated their time, talent, and treasure to let this kid from Flyover State, Ohio, live out his dreams. So it's my turn now to give back in whatever way I can. And I may have more time and questionable talent than I do treasure, but this is my way of saying thanks for allowing me to live out my dreams, to be molded as a young man by Syracuse University. And with my service today, this great institution, it allows me to continue as an old man, to also mold and change my life for the better. So again, congratulations. Welcome to the Orange family. Orange likes to be surrounded by orange. And I know Chris had talked about how everybody on this call will help. Find me personally on LinkedIn, Ryan Mcnaughton. Find me, connect with me. This is what we do. This is who we are. So congratulations. We take care of each other. I hope you're all doing great. And with that, I will cede the floor and thank you very much for the time.
Ryan, thank you. And we're not old, we're just experienced. Just remember that. That's important to point out. I did such a thorough job of giving you your resume. I kind of forgot to give mine. So yes, I am an alum, class of 1995, also have a degree in broadcast journalism from the Newhouse School, worked in television news for a good 20 years, but now I'm an employee and I work in the Office of Alumni Engagement as the Director of Digital Engagement and Communications. So it has been a part of my life for a very, very long time, Syracuse University. And it's very rewarding to now be in a position where I get to tell stories about alumni, to connect with students, to connect with alumni, to connect them to each other and keep them connected to Syracuse University. And one of the things that Ryan just talked about is that idea that Syracuse took a chance on me, right? And feeling like that and feeling like you got something out of this place that helped propel you in whatever direction it is you wind up going is a really important thing. And it's something that stays with you and does motivate you to want to give back. Our next guest is Jasmine Mangum, who is the president of the Generation Orange Leadership Council, who also is very actively involved. I mean, look at that background. You've got the 150 years of impact background. You've got your Coming Back Together t-shirt on. You're showing off what it means to be orange in so many ways. She has been involved with the Our Time Has Come Scholars Tag BCCE, which is the Black Celestial Choral Ensemble Living Legacy Endowed Fund. That's a group that she was involved in as an undergrad. And this is a program that raises money to grant scholarships to current students. Jasmine is a mentor in the Syracuse University Mentor-Mentee Alliance program, which allows her to be hands-on with current high school students. And as Ryan has done with his children, she is helping to shepherd them to one day bleed orange as well. On campus, she was VP of Student Engagement for the South Campus Organization for Programming Excellence and a resident advisor in the Office of Student Living, and now leading the Generation Orange Leadership Council. Jasmine, thank you for your involvement and looking forward to hearing your story.
Chris, thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone, and congratulations to the class of 2022. Welcome to the Alumni Association, the greatest association that exists in my personal opinion. When I am asked to speak on behalf of the Generation Orange Leadership Council or to share what we represent, I always lead with, we are the preeminent advisory board of all advisory boards coming out of Syracuse University. Currently, we are comprised of 34 members, and our commitment is to nurture relationships and encourage lifelong engagement for young alumni to Syracuse University. And we do this through very uniquely tailored programming and communications that allow young alumni to be committed and to stay involved and to seek the support or find the support that they need through us. My Syracuse story is very simple. I knew I wanted to bleed orange from the moment I saw the orange across all screens, whether it was a football game, a basketball game, whether I was in my high school going to see my college advisor about what next steps were. But the reason why I am committed and I have continued my service to the university is because alumni have been looking out for me from the time that I stepped onto campus to the time that I graduated to this very point. And whether that was what's happening, what's next, what do you need? Those three questions were very consistent and they've made the difference for me. It's why I mentor, it's why I lead, it's why I stay engaged, and why I'm always going to encourage you to do the very same. You can find me on LinkedIn at Jasmine Mangum. You can always shoot me an email. I will put my information in the chat, but I am so committed to this cause of helping our young alumni find their way for the next 10 years. And, I can only serve on the council for 6 years, but the remaining 4 that I get to call myself a Generation Orange alum, I'm going to squeeze that orange juice until it's all dried out. So once again, congratulations. Thank you so much for having me here. And we are so very proud. Go Orange.
Thank you, Jasmine. All right, our next speaker, Mackenzie Marticus, graduated from Syracuse University in 2020. So 2020, as if you need a reminder, is the year that the class went home for spring break and never came back. She's got a BA in public relations and political science. She works for Ketchum, which is a public relations agency specializing in health services. She also serves as the communications and social media chair for our Alumni Club in Washington, D.C. While at Syracuse, Mackenzie was Student Association president and was a member of a number of organizations on campus, including the Traditions Commission, Phi Sigma Pi National Honors Fraternity, and Relay for Life. And I'm really interested, and this may not be something you were prepared to talk about, but I'm really interested in that public relations and political science kind of dual degree that you got, because it shows something that is such a part of the fabric of Syracuse University, and that's that collaboration, that's the ability to really take advantage of all of the things that are offered. So to be able to get a degree that allows you to really hone in on your interests, but not be so specific, I think is just such an interesting part of the Syracuse experience that's shared by so many. So not to put you on the spot, but I do hope you'll talk about that a little bit, Mackenzie.
Yeah, I think, at Syracuse, you can do it all. That's something that I've really learned over my years. So thank you, Chris, and congrats to the class of 2022. Not too far behind you all. So I graduated in 2020, which was a unique experience. And I know your experience on campus has also been unique over the past 2+ years. So I left campus spring break, as Chris said, in 2020 and didn't come back. But I wasn't ready to be done with my Syracuse experience. So as soon as I moved to Washington, D.C., I got involved with our Alumni Club, which also has a scholarship here in the city for alum or students that are currently at Syracuse that are coming to DC. So that's how I kind of got connected to the Alumni Club at the time. I had been a scholarship recipient and knew they helped me, so I wanted to continue to help out there. So Alumni Clubs, I will also do the same thing as Ryan and read the official language because I know that is important. So Alumni Clubs are for alum, parents, students, and friends of Syracuse to connect with each other and stay connected to the university while we are no longer there. Our club here in DC often holds game watches, attends local sporting events, host professional development and networking opportunities. And we also help with the new student send-offs that have been mentioned here, and also trying to give back with community service here in DC. So across the nation, there's 30+ clubs that we have in local communities that have their own set of local programming. So everything is different. Every city has different things that they can offer, and the clubs kind of follow that path. I think for me, I have two things to add about the local Alumni Club experience. One being kind of what everyone has said here today. Don't be afraid to reach out to alum that are in your local city that have same interests and industries that you're in. Kind of going off of what Chris said, I was a political science and PR major. One of our local board members, who is also on the SUAA board now, Jessica Kershaw, was so willing to help me out that summer after I graduated. Because of the pandemic, I ended up losing the first job that I had before it even started, which was a unique and challenging experience. And I had already signed a lease to move here to DC because I was told that I was going to be able to start my job come August. So Jessica really helped me with just figuring out what was next and what I wanted to do, even if it wasn't what I had originally thought I was going to do. Things were changing, but because of my education at Syracuse, because of all of my connections and everything that I learned while I was there, I knew I could figure something out and pivot. So ended up going to work at a PR agency, which was something that I didn't really intend to do when I first set off. I wanted to, work on the Hill or work in government advocacy, and things just changed and shifted. And now 2 years later, I'm at my second PR agency and have found my niche in healthcare, which I never thought I would have been doing. So Jessica really helped me out that summer, figuring out what was next and making sure that I knew that it was okay to not know what was next, and it was okay to not do what you thought you were going to be doing, especially in the circumstances that we had. So my tip on that is don't be afraid to reach out to someone. Even if you don't know them, we're all here to help. Like everyone said, we will hop on the phone with you, talk through anything, just be here to listen, but also to offer any insight that we can. The last thing I want to add is, so as the Alumni Club here in DC, we of course have some local sporting events that the Orange participate in. So this past year, there was a Georgetown Syracuse game scheduled here in DC in the Capital One Arena. So our club bought like a block of 200 tickets where all of the Syracuse alum could gather and sit together. And while we weren't in the dome, it felt like we were home. So I think that's something that's really important. Just because we're not in Syracuse anymore doesn't mean that your Syracuse community isn't always with you. It felt like I was coming home. It felt like I was back on campus and with my Orange family. So I think that's really important. It never leaves you. We're all always here. You'll always find your Syracuse community wherever you are. And I think that's something that's really special and unique about our university.
And because you were together, all of you in Orange that day, it made it a little less painful, right?
Yes. It was a sad ending, but it was still so exciting. It was the last minute and we still didn't know what was going to happen in pure Syracuse fashion. Of
course, we're used to that. We're
yes.
used to that, but it is better to experience it together as
yes.
well. Mackenzie, thank you. And you talked about that idea that the Orange family is always here for you. And it's true. And it's the kind of thing that no matter who you speak with, who is an alum, they're going to have a story about how someone helped them out. And, you also, Mackenzie, talked about that idea of kind of the path maybe going a different direction than you expect, and having support to say, this is okay. You can make this work, and give you advice, give you feedback is important. And certainly I know I can draw a direct line along my career, which has kind of shifted a little bit, of people from Syracuse who've helped me along the way. So it's an important part, and not to be afraid to reach out is crucial, because sometimes you don't know the advice that you can get. You don't know the connections that our network can help provide for you. And so it's important to be able to make that first step. And, we're willing to talk always. So Mackenzie, thank you. Our next speaker is Ron Taylor. And Ron is also a Generation Orange Leadership Council member, and is very involved and has some great stories to share. Orange Central coming back together. We've talked about those a little bit. They're two of his favorite Syracuse University events. Any reason to come back to campus and know you're going to be surrounded by the Orange family is always great. As a student, he was extremely involved with organizations like the Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity, Creation Dance Company, the University Conduct Board, Multicultural Empowerment Network, the NAACP, the Chancellor's Work Groups on Diversity and Inclusion, and Wells Link Second Year Mentoring Program. It's a lot. How do you have time for it all? You find a way, right? You find a way. And also those groups of people that you're meeting in all of those organizations, those are the people too. It's not just the people who you lived with in your dorm, the people who were parts of those organizations who are going to be part of your Orange family forever. Ronald values the experiences he had at SU. They prepared him to consistently incorporate and share the values that he learned in college of inclusion, equity, and diversity in both his professional and personal endeavors. He's still excited to be making an impact on the community as a member of the GOLC. And he's also one of those guys who's not done. He just got a degree in spring of 2021 from Columbia University. So always learning, always mentoring, always teaching. Ronald, welcome. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much, Chris, and thank you for that warm introduction. Congrats to the class of 2022. I am jealous because I don't know how 7 years for me from undergrad till now has passed that quickly. My gosh. But as Chris was walking through my introduction, it's just amazing to think of how fortunate and blessed I was to have all those experiences in undergrad and in graduate school at Syracuse. And so my goal today is just to really speak a little bit about the ways in which alumni can be involved in different parts of the university. You've heard about clubs, you've heard about the greatest advisory board in this land of orange that we're in from Jasmine earlier. But one of the offices on campus that I find is a dear place for me is the Syracuse University Office of Multicultural Advancement, not to be confused with Multicultural Affairs, two very different offices that do great work in between the two of them. But SUMA, or Multicultural Advancement, is an office that hosts a series of programs that support students from underrepresented backgrounds. So when I was on campus in graduate school and undergrad, I was an Our Time Has Come Scholar, which you heard earlier from Jasmine, which is a program that's extremely special because it's a program that's focused on giving financial resources and aid to underrepresented students. And what's beautiful about it is quite a few of those dollars are driven by alumni that look like us. And so the beautiful piece is you get the financials, it definitely helps because Syracuse is not an inexpensive institution, but you also get the connections to alumni that have impacted industries and campus in different ways. I had the privilege of being an Our Time Has Come Scholar under Derek Palmer, who was a part of one of the original classes that held some of the original sit-ins to get more resources for multicultural students and groups earlier on in Syracuse's history. Two of my fraternity brothers were the donors for my undergraduate scholarship. So it's not just the dollars, it's the connection to those alumni. But beyond the Our Time Has Come Scholarship Program, Multicultural Advancement produces publications, the Syracuse Manuscript, which just highlights all the amazing work that alum are doing, both near and far, that you can subscribe to and get every month. I have not missed a copy in 7 years. In addition to some of the really important work of mentoring current students. So if you are interested, I would highly encourage recent alums to look at the mentoring program where alumni are matched with undergraduates that are currently on campus, which is a really great opportunity just to give back to the point that was made earlier about time, talent, and treasure. When you're a young alum, you may not have a lot of treasure because you might have some student loans or figuring out what adulting is, but it's pretty great to just hop on the phone and speak with alumni for a little bit. And the reason why I wanted to take the time to share that is that COVID did what COVID has done. I was a career educator for the majority of my time after undergrad. COVID hit, schools changed, and so I decided to think, how can I still love and support children in a different way? Through a Syracuse connection, ironically, I now work at the social media company TikTok, serving on the global policy issue team for minor safety. So I deal with all things keeping young people safe, figuring out ways to make sure that we're making things developmentally optimal for young people. And I wouldn't have that job if a Syracuse alum didn't say, hey, check this out. I know someone that currently works there, which is the power of the network. So with that in vain, I'm happy to have any conversations, both personally, and professionally with recent alum. And congrats again, enjoy it. I hope that you're still on the high of graduation and looking forward to being connected, and please do get involved. But thank you all so much for having me this afternoon.
Ronald, thank you. Again, what a great group of alumni who have different stories, but one of the things that, and I think any one of us can tell the story about being in an airport, right? And seeing somebody wearing a Syracuse sweatshirt or a Syracuse hat, and then suddenly you're on different flights, but your flights are delayed and you found a new best friend. I mean, that happens more frequently than it doesn't, honestly. Both the flights getting delayed and meeting a new best friend who has a Syracuse gear on. And that's what's so wonderful about it. Yeah, you've got the 4 years or the 7 years, I guess, of classes when you were in school, but the Orange family extends beyond that. And Mackenzie talking about Jessica, you weren't in school together, right? I mean, those are the kinds of connections that are so powerful and can take you really wherever you want to go. There's Orange there to help support and guide and help you out. So if anyone has any questions that you want to reach out to somebody, please, you heard from all of us, feel free to do so. We're happy to answer questions and be that support along the way. We take pride in doing it because chances are we've all had someone do it for us. And so it's that idea of the time, talent, treasure, and giving back. And that takes a lot of different forms. And one thing, Ronald, you mentioned learning how to adult when you're a young alum. I don't want to speak for Ryan, but we're still learning how to adult ourselves. And we've been out of college for a little bit. So that's going to do it for our program today, our kickoff program. We hope that you were able to get something out of it. And again, please reach out, make those connections, use your Orange family to support you, whatever steps you are taking along the way. And we hope if you are able to join us for some of these other programs. The Success Week continues tomorrow with Pitch Perfect, the business of promoting you. Again, some great alumni speakers will give you some advice, help you professionally, help you personally as well. There are also programs happening online on Wednesday and Thursday of this week. And there are programs happening in cities around the country. So get out and meet some of your alumni neighbors, some folks who maybe you haven't met. You're going to a new city or you're coming home to your hometown but haven't had a chance to meet these folks. Mackenzie, obviously, at the club in DC has a couple of programs, including a scavenger hunt, which sounds like a lot of fun. So again, thank you for being with us. And as always, go Orange.